Vandeyam Shikaro Shiyata Parakamlam Shigurun Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagrajatam Saganaragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shirada Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitamscha Om Gorva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shirupa Patanugam Govindam Vidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Shah Divyad Bhagavat Premnawe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyambudim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubhanam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishwara Shidaram Vanchakopatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevcha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahaprabhu Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. We're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila chapter 9, the deliverance of Gopinath Pattanayaka. And this is text number 1. Aganyadanya Chaitanya Gananam Prema Banyaya Ninye Danya Jana Svanta Maru Shashvad Anupatam. The innumerable glorious followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought a constant flood to the desert-like hearts of the unfortunate with an inundation of ecstatic love. The innumerable glorious followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought a constant flood to the desert-like hearts of the unfortunate with an inundation of ecstatic love. Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Doyamoy Jaya Jaya Nityananda Karuna Hridoy. All glories to Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful incarnation. All glories to Lord Nityananda, whose heart is always compassionate. Jaya Dvaitacharya Jaya Jaya Doyamoy Jaya Gora Bhaktagan Sabarasamoy. All glories to Sri Advaitacharya, who is very merciful. All glories to the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are always overwhelmed by transcendental bliss. Emata Mahaprabhu Bhaktagana Sange Nila Jale Basakoran Krishna Prema Range. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived at Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, with his personal devotees, always merged in ecstatic love for Krishna. Andare Bahire Krishna Virahataranga Nanababe Vyakula Prabhur Mana Ara Anga. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always felt waves of separation from Krishna, externally and internally. His mind and body were agitated by various spiritual transformations. Dine Nritya Kirtan Jagannatha Darshan Ratriye Raya Swarup Sane Rasa Asvadan. During the day he chanted, danced, and saw Lord Jagannath in the temple. At night he tasted transcendental bliss in the company of Ramananda Ray and Swarup Damodar. Sri Jagatera Lokashi Korana Darshan Jaydeki Sepaya Krishna Premadan. People from the three worlds used to come visit Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyone who saw him received the transcendental treasure of love for Krishna. Manushyara Beshedeva Gandharva Kinar Sapta Patalera Jata Daitya Vishadar. The inhabitants of the 7 higher planetary systems, including the demigods, the Gandharvas, and the Kinnaras, and the inhabitants of the 7 lower planetary systems, Patala Loka, including the demons and serpentine living entities, all visited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the dress of human beings. Saptadipe Nabakande Baishe Jatajan, Nanabeshe Ashe Kore Prabhu Darshan, dressed in different ways, people from the 7 islands and 9 khandas visited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prahlad Bole Vyasa Shuka Adi Munigan, Ashe Prabhu Deki Preme Hoy Achetan. Prahlad Maharaj, Boli Maharaj, Srila Vyasadeva, Sukadeva Goswami, and many other great sages came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Upon seeing him, they became unconscious in ecstatic love for Krishna. According to the opinion of some historians, Prahlad Maharaj was born in Treta Yuga in the city of Multan in the state of Punjab. He was born of Hiranyakashipu, a king of the dynasty of Kashyapa. Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu, but his father was very much against Vishnu. Because the father and son thus differed in their consciousness, the demon father inflicted all kinds of bodily pain upon Prahlad. When the torture became intolerable, the Supreme Lord appeared as Nrsingadev and killed the great demon Hiranyakashipu. Boli Maharaj was a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. The son of Prahlad Maharaj was Virochana, and his son was known as Boli. Appearing as Vamana and begging Bali Maharaj for 3 feet of land, the Lord took possession of the entire 3 worlds. Thus Bali Maharaj became a great devotee of Lord Vamana. Bali Maharaj had 100 sons, of whom Maharaj Bana was the eldest and most famous. Vyasadeva was the son of the great sage Parashara. Other names for him are Satyavateya and Krishna Dvaipayana Badarayana Muni. As one of the authorities on the Vedas, he divided the original Veda for convenience into 4 sections, Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva. He is the author of 18 Puranas as well as the Theosophical Theses, Brahma Sutra, and its natural commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam. He belongs to the Brahma Sampradaya and is a direct descendant of Narad Muni. Sukadeva Goswami is the son of Vyasadeva. He was a brahmachari, fully conscious of Brahman realization, but later he became a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He narrated Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Bahire Fukare Lok Darshana Paya Krishna Kaha Bolan Prabhu Bahire Asiya. Being unable to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the populace outside his room would make a tumultuous sound. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go outside and tell them, chant Hare Krishna. Krishna Kaha. Prabhu Darshane Sab Loka Preme Bashe Emata Jai Prabhu Ratri Divase. All kinds of people would come to see the Lord, and upon seeing him they would be overwhelmed with ecstatic love for Krishna. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his days and nights. Ek din lok ashe Prabhu re nivedila Gopinath Ray Borajana Change Chadaila. One day people suddenly came to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and informed him, Gopinath Pattanayaka, the son of Bhavananda Ray, has been condemned to death by the Borajana, the eldest son of the king, and has been raised on the Changa. The changa was a device for killing a condemned person. It consisted of a raised platform on which the condemned was made to stand. Underneath the platform there were stationary upright swords. The condemned man would be pushed down onto the swords, and in this way he would die. For some reason, Gopinath Pattanayaka had been condemned to death and had therefore been raised upon the changa. Tale kadgapati tare upare daribe prabhu rakka korana jabe tabe nistaribe. The Bodhajana has placed swords beneath the platform, they said, and they will throw Gopinath upon them. O Lord, only if you protect him will he be saved. So Gopinath Pattanayaka is one of the 5 sons of Bhavananda Ray, who's the father of Ramananda Ray. Yes, and so people are concerned. They believe that Gopinath Pattanayaka is going to be put to death, and they're asking Mahaprabhu to become involved to save Gopinath Pattanayaka. Sabam Shetomara Sevak Bhavananda Ray Taraputra Tomar Sevake Rakite Jujai. Bhavananda Ray and his entire family are your servants. Therefore, it is quite fitting for you to save the son of Bhavananda Ray. Prabhu Kohe Rajakene Koraye Taran Tabise Loka Kahe Sabha Vivaran. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, why is the king chastising him? Thereupon the king described the entire incident. Gopinath Pattanayaka Ramananda Ray Sarvakala Hoiteho Rajavishayi. They said Gopinath Pattanayaka, the brother of Ramananda Ray, has always been a treasure for the government. Malajatya Dandapate Tara Adhikar Saripadi Ami Anidravya Dila Rajadwar. He served in the place known as Malajatya Dandapata, soliciting and collecting money there and depositing it in the government treasury. Duilak Kahanatara Tai Baki Hoila Duilaka Kahan Kodi Rajata Magila. Once when he deposited the collection, however, a balance of 200,000 kahanas of conch shells was due from him. Therefore, the king demanded this sum. He owed 200,000 kahanas. Te hoko he stula drabya nahi je gane diba krame vechikini drabya bariba. Gopinath Pattanayaka replied, there is no money I can immediately give you in cash. Please give me time. Gradually I shall purchase and sell my gross goods, and in this way fill your treasury. Gorada Shabara Hoy Lahamuya Kori Etabole Gora Ane Rajadwari Dari. There are 10 to 12 good horses. Take them immediately for a proper price. After saying this, he brought all the horses to the door of the king. Ek Rajaputra Godara Muya Balojane Tare Pataila Raja Putra Mitra Sane. One of the princes knew how to estimate the price of horses very well. Thus the king sent for him to come with his ministers and friends. The king asked his elder son to come and evaluate the horses. Gopinath Pattanayaka owes 200,000 kanas, and he said, I have these horses. You can take the horses as part of towards the price. Okay. Se Rajaputra Maya Kore Gataniya Gopinath Era Kruda Hoila muya shunya. The prince, however, purposely gave a reduced estimate for the value of the horses. When Gopinath Pattanayaka heard the price quoted, he was very angry. Se Rajaputrera Swabhava Griva Firaya Urdvamuke Barabara Iti Utichai. The prince had a personal idiosyncrasy of turning his neck and facing the sky, looking here and there again and again. The prince had a personal idiosyncrasy of turning his neck and facing the sky, looking here and there again and again. So that prince had an idiosyncrasy where he would look like this towards the sky and he'd move his head like this. So, Tarininde Kori Kohe, Sagarva Bachane, Raja Kripa Koritate, Baya Nahimane. Gopinath Pattanayaka criticized the prince. He was unafraid of the prince because the king was very kind toward him. Amaragora Grivana Firai Urdve Nahichai, Tate Godara Muya Gati Korite Najujai. Gopinath Pattanayaka said, my horses never turn their necks or look upward. Therefore, the price for them should not be reduced. Gopinath Pattanayaka said, why are you making the price of my horses so low? They don't turn their head like you and look like this. So the prince was very angry that he was criticized. Shuni Rajaputra Mani Kroda Upajila Rajaratai Jai Bahu Lagani Korila. Hearing this criticism, the prince became very angry. Going before the king, he made some false allegations against Gopinath Pattanayaka. Kodina hidibe bidai chadmakori agyadeho jadi change chadaya loi kodi. This Gopinath Pattanayaka, he said, is unwilling to pay the money due. Instead, he is squandering it under some pretext. If you issue an order, I can put him on the chunga and thus realize the money. Raja bole jay balo se korajai upaye kori pai karana upay. The king replied, you can adopt whatever means you think best. Any device by which you can somehow or other realize the money is all right. Rajaputra Shitari Change Charaila Karanga Upare Felaite Tale Karaga Patila Rajaputra Shitari Change Charaila Karaga Upare Felaite Tale Karaga Patila. Thus the prince went back, raised Gopinath Pattanayaka upon the platform of the chunga, and spread swords below upon which to throw him. Shuni Prabhu ko hekichu kore pranoi rosh, Raja kore diteta nare, Raja rakiba dosh. After hearing this explanation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied with affectionate anger, Gopinath Pattanayaka does not want to pay the money that is due the king. The Lord said, how then is the king at fault in punishing him? Raja bilat sadikai nahi rajabai darin natu jare dia kore nana up nana vyai. Gopinath Pattanayaka is in charge of collecting money on behalf of the government, but he misappropriates it. Not fearing the king, he squanders it to see dancing girls. Jai Chatura Se Kuruka Raja Vishai Raja Dravya Shodipai Tara Karuka Vyai. If one is intelligent, let him perform service to the government, and after paying the government, he can spend whatever money is left. Hinakali lok ailadaya baninatare savamse loya gela bandiya. At that time, another person came there in great haste, bringing news that Gopinath At that time, another person came there in great haste, bringing the news that Bhavananda Ray and his entire family had been arrested. Bhavananda Ray is also brother Ramananda Ray and Gopinath Pattanayaka, and they said now Bhavananda has been arrested too. So, Prabhu kohe rajapane lekara dravya loiba ami virakta sanyasi taheki koriba. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the king must personally realize the money that is due. I am but a sannyasi, a member of the renounced order. What can I do? Tabe swarup hare jata prabhur bhaktagan prabhura charane sabe koila nivedan. Then all the devotees headed by Swarup Damodar fell at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and submitted the following plea. Ramananda Rayer Goshti Sab Tomara Das Tomara Uchite Nahe Aichana Udas. All the members of Ramananda Roy's family are your eternal servants. Now they are in danger. It is not befitting for you to be indifferent to them in this way. So you can see that the devotees are very excited and they want Mahaprabhu to intercede on the behalf of Gopinath Pattanayaka, who's now on the Changa, and they're afraid he's going to be killed. But Mahaprabhu's way of doing things is not just done in terms of reacting to people's anxiety and you know, they're approaching him. Mahaprabhu's way of doing things is different. It's based on the Lord's natural flow of his mercy. So all the members of Ramananda Ray's family are your eternal servants. Now they are in danger. It is not befitting for you to be indifferent to them in this way. Shuni Mahaprabhu kohe sankroda bachane moreya gyadeho sabe jana rajastane. After hearing this, Mahaprabhu spoke in an angry mood. You want to order me to go to the king, he said. Tomasabar e mata rajatai jana kodimage lan mui Anshalapatiya. Your opinion is that I should go to the king's palace and spread my cloth to beg money from him. That I should go like this to the king to beg money. Pancha Gandhara Patra Hoy Sanyasi Brahmana Magile Ba Kene Dive Duilaka Kahana. Of course, a sannyasi or Brahmin may beg for up to 5 gandas. But why should he be granted the inappropriate sum of 200,000 kahanas of conch shells? Mahaprabhu said, yes, I can beg for a little bit, but you're asking me to go to the king and beg for what Gopinath Pattanayaka owes, 200,000 kahanas. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to beg for such a large amount of money? Hinakalyana lok ailadana kadigara upare gopinate dieche daria. Then another person came with the news that Gopinath had already been set up to be thrown upon the points of the spears. So they're worried. They're thinking that this is going on in serious, that any minute Gopinath Pattanayaka will be executed by the eldest prince, and they're really disturbed. People are very upset. They don't see this as that he's just being scared, or they're trying to scare him or threatening him to pay the money. They're thinking he's about to be killed, Gopinath Pattanayaka. Then another person came with the news that Gopinath had already been set up to be thrown upon the points of the spears. Shuni Prabhurgana Prabhure Kore Anunoi Prabhu Kohe Ami Bikuka Ama Hoite Kichunoi. Hearing this news, all the devotees again appealed to the Lord. But the Lord replied, I'm a beggar. It is impossible for me to do anything about this. Tate raka korite jadi hoy sabarmane sabe mili janaha jagannatara charane. Therefore, if you want to save him, you should all pray together at the lotus feet of Jagannath. Ishvara Jagannatha Jara Hate Sarva Arta Kartum Akartum Anyata Korite Samarta. Lord Jagannath is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He possesses all potencies. Therefore, he is able to act freely and can do and undo whatever he likes. Ihanjari Mahaprabhu Eteka Kohila Harichandan Patrajai Brajare Kohila. When Mahaprabhu replied in this way, an officer named Harichandan Patra went to the king and spoke with him. Gopinath Pattanayaka Sevaka Tomar Sevakera Pranananda Nahibya Bahar. After all, he said, Gopinath Pattanayaka is your faithful servant. To condemn a servant to death is not good behavior. Visesha taharatai kodi baki hoy prana nile kiba laba nija danatkoy. His only fault is that he owes some money to the government. If he is killed, however, what profit will there be? The government will be the loser, for it will not get the money. Jatarta muye goda loha ke jeba baki hoy krame dibe byarta prana keni loy. It would be better to take the horses for a proper price and let him gradually repay the balance. Why are you killing him unnecessarily? Rajako he ebat amina hejani pranakeni loibatara drabya chahiyami. The king answered in surprise, I did not know about all this. Why should his life be taken? I only want the money from him. Tumi jai karatahan sarva samadan drabya jai chayashi ar tari tarapran. Go there and adjust everything. I want only the present. Go there and adjust everything. I want only the payment, not his life. Tabe hari chandanashi janare kohila change hoite gopinate shigra namaila. Harichandan then returned and informed the prince of the king's desire, and immediately Gopinath Pattanayaka was taken down from the Changa. Drabyadeha Rajamage Upai Puchila Chatarta Muye Goda Loha Tehona Kohila. Then he was told that the king demanded the money due him and asked what means he would adopt to pay it. Kindly take my horses, he replied, for a proper price. He has horses, but take them for a proper price. Don't try to make it, give me a quote for the horses that's so low that it's very unrealistic. Gopinath Pattanayaka was told that the king demanded the money due him and asked what means he would adopt to pay it. Kindly take my horses, he replied, for a proper price this time. Krame di muara jata kichupari avichare pranaloha ki bolite pari. I shall gradually pay the balance as I can. Without consideration, however, you were going to take my life. What can I say? Jatarta muya kore tabe saba goda loila aradravyara mudati kori gare pataila. Then the government took all the horses for a proper price. A time was set for payment of the balance, and Gopinath Pattanayaka was released. Eta Prabhu se manushere prashna loila. Eta Prabhu se manushere prashna koila. Vaninatha ki kore jabe bandiya anila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from the messenger, what was Vaninath doing when he was arrested and brought there? Eko he Vaninath nirabaye loya Krishna nam Hari Hari Hare Krishna kohe avishram. Eko he Vaninath nirabaye loya Krishna nam Hare Krishna kohe avishram. The messenger replied, he was fearlessly, incessantly chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sakyalage duihate anuglite leka, sahasrade purna hoila, Sahasrade purna hoile ange katik reka sangyalage duihate angulite leka sanya sahasrade purna hoile ange kate reka. He counted the chants on the fingers of both hands, and after he had finished chanting 1,000 times, he would make a mark on his body. So Mahaprabhu asked, what was Vaninath Ray doing when he was arrested? And they said, oh, he was chanting continually the Maha Mantra, and he was marking his body with his fingers, making marks on his body to indicate how much he had chanted. Every time he's chanting 1,000 names, then he will make a mark on his body. He counted the chants on the fingers of both hands, and after he had finished chanting 1,000 times, he would make a mark on his body. Shuni Mahaprabhu hoila Paramananda ke bujite pare gorera kripa chanda banda. Hearing the news, the Lord was very pleased. Who can understand the service of the Lord upon his devotees? Who can understand the mercy of the Lord upon his devotees? Hearing this news, the Lord was very pleased. Who can understand the mercy of the Lord upon his devotees? Hinakali Kashi Mishra, Aila Prabhustani, Prabhutari, Kache Kichu, Sodbega Bachane. At that time, Kashi Mishra came to the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord talked with him with some agitation. Ihan Rahitenari Jamu Alalanat Nana Upadrava Ihan Napai Shoyata. I cannot stay here any longer. This is what Mahaprabhu says when Kashi Mishra goes to visit the Lord. Mahaprabhu says, I cannot stay here any longer, the Lord said. I shall go to Alalanath. There are too many disturbances here, and I cannot get any rest. Now you got rest?
I just can't get up at the right time.
You always get up at the right time. Just missed one day or two. I called Nyasi Maharaj. She's in the hospital.
Oh, and
He might get out today. He's getting better.
it's getting better.
Yeah.
And how about the other people?
I haven't talked with them yet.
Okay. Sorry.
And he didn't know about them because he's been in the hospital. He didn't hear news about others. Ihan rohidenari jamu alalanat Nana upadravya ihan napai shoyata I cannot stay here any longer, the Lord said. I shall go to Aladrinath. There are too many disturbances here, and I cannot get any rest. Bhavananda Ray Goshti Kore Raja Vishai Nanda Pankare Kore Tara Raja Dravyavyai. All the family members of Bhavananda Ray are engaged in government service, but they spend the government revenue in various ways. Rajara ki dosha, Raja nija dravya chai, ditenare dravya danda amare janai. What is the fault on the part of the king? If he wants the government's money, what is the fault on the part of the king? He wants the government's money. However, when they are punished for failing to pay the government its due, they come to me to release them. Raja Gopinath Jari Change Charaila Charibari Loke Ashe More Janaila. When the king put Gopinath Pattanayaka on the Changa, messengers came 4 times to inform me about the incident. Bhikuka Sannyasiyami Nirjana Basi Amai Duka Deya Nija Duka Kahi Ashi. As a beggar sannyasi, a mendicant, I wish to live alone in a solitary place. But these people come to tell me about their unhappiness and disturb me. Ajitari Jagannath Korila Rakan Kalike Kohibe Jadi Nadibe Rajadan. Jagannath has saved him once from death today, but if tomorrow he again does not pay what he owes the treasury, who will give him protection? Vishayara Bharta Shuni Kuba Hoiman Tate Ihan Rahid Mora Nahi Prayojan. If I hear about the activities of materialistic persons, my mind becomes agitated. There is no need for me to stay here and be disturbed in that way. Kashi Mishra Kabe Prabhur Doriya Charane Tumikene E Bate Koba Kora Mane. Kashi Mishra caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and said, "Why should you be agitated by these affairs? Sannyasi Virakta Tomar Kasane Sambandha Vyabhara Lage Toma Bhaje Se Jnana Anda." You are a renounced sannyasi. What connections do you have? One who worships you for some material purpose is blind to all knowledge. Kashi Mishra caught hold of the Lord's lotus feet and said, "Why should you be agitated by these affairs? Why should they bring this to your attention? You are a renounced sannyasi. What connections do you have? One who worships you for some material purpose is blind to all knowledge." Tomara bhajana fale tomate primadan vishai lage tomai bhaje se murkajan. Kashi Mishra continued, if one engages in devotional service for your satisfaction, Kashi Mishra continued, if one engages in devotional service for your satisfaction, this will result in his increasingly awakening his dormant love for you. But if one engages in your devotional service for material purposes, he should be considered a number 1 fool, or fool number 1. Toma lage Ramananda Ray Tyaga Koila Toma lagi Sanatana Vishaya Charila. It is only for your sake that Ramananda Ray resigned from the government of South India, and Sanatana Goswami gave up his post as a minister. Tomalage Raghunatha Sakala Chadila Hetaya taharpita vishaya pataila. It is for your sake that Raghunath Das, it is for your sake that Raghunath Das gave up all his family relationships. His father sent money and men here to serve him. Tomara charana kripa hayacheta hare chatre mage kai vishai aparsha nahi kore. However, because he has received the mercy of your lotus feet, he does not even accept his father's money. Instead, he eats by begging alms from centers for the distribution of food. So I'm going to stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue. Okay. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan. Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan. H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan. Jahoite Vignana Shabishta Puran. Jahoite Vignana Shabishta Puran. H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas. H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas. Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras. Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas. Janame More Abilas. Janame More Abilas. H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash. Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Haribad Shavrindavan. Anande Bolo Haribad Shavrindavan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjayaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryash. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryash. Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottam Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Narottam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharg Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Ganadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai, Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Koladvip Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai, Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.